with WWE's plans for a Steve Austin-Kevin Owens feud revealed and more. This is Wrestling Hub. My name is John, and you're watching the Wrestling Report for February 22nd. Before we get into the rest of the video, make sure you subscribe to Wrestling Hub and turn on all notifications to stay up to date with everything in the world of pro wrestling. Also, don't forget to follow us on Instagram at WrestlingHubOfficial and also follow us on Twitter at Wrestling_Hub. Last night, The Miz revealed to the Mysterios who he would be teaming up with to face them at WrestleMania, as Logan Paul made his way to the ring. On Raw Talk, Miz explained his decision to bring in Paul for this bout. Logan Paul is one of the biggest stars in the world right now. You talk social media, you talk boxing, you talk anything in Hollywood. It has Logan Paul's name on it. Anything he touches, it succeeds. You think I'm going to go back in the WWE locker room? I know for a fact that people like me back there, they are jealous of the success I have had in WWE. All the accolades that I have attributed to, all the movies, the reality shows, everything that I have done. People just have no intention to be alongside me. Many fans thought Cody Rhodes could be returning to team with Miz, as the company put out many teases. Of course, those tuning into Raw were pretty upset over Logan Paul returning, so here's some of the reactions. Y'all had one job, had us thinking Cody was here. Officially, the worst match on the Mania card. On his podcast, AEW's Jim Ross talked about doing commentary for the company, as he noted how he gets Attitude Era vibes while calling the show. Live TV is so much fun. I'm having a blast doing these shows because of the roster that Tony Khan has put together. It's pretty damn extraordinary. I'm having as much fun calling these matches as I did. There are Attitude Era moments where I feel totally engulfed in the show. I'm in another place and doing something I really, truly love. I had a big void after the Attitude Era. Many years where I never got that feeling. It was gone, but I still put my time in. But now with AEW and the talent we have, there's so many young guys, and the fans don't know how much time I put in with these talents off camera. So when I see somebody have a really good match, and it may have the small sprinkling of sauce for me as far as psychology. During his reign as WWE Champion in 2007, John Cena would have an iconic last man standing match against Umaga at the Royal Rumble. On his Monday mailbag show, former WWE referee Mike Chioda recalled Cena choking Umaga unconscious. Umaga couldn't answer anything. He was out like a light. And that's why I got so worried about him. I was thinking, was he concussed? But no. The rope got him and choked him out. And he passed out. I didn't even know he was passed out. He was passed out. He was totally out of it. He finally woke up. I was like, are you alright? That was nuts. It was the ring rope that choked him out. John was pulling too hard. He was tugging too hard. I felt bad because as a referee, you have to know what's going on in there. I was like, Eki, I just thought you were selling so good. He said, I was trying to tell you, but I couldn't get it out. He couldn't talk, but he was trying to tell me it was too tight, and I couldn't even hear him. With The Undertaker set to be inducted into the Hall of Fame, many fans are aware of his role as a backstage leader for WWE. Talking about his first time seeing Wrestler's Court, Kurt Angle said this on his show. I did witness Wrestler's Court one time. What happened was the writer, Brian Gerwitz, who I believe is the most talented writer WWE ever had in the company. He was writing for a lot of the superstars, in particular The Rock, me, Chris Jericho, Edge and Christian, and some of the wrestlers thought that he was favoring us more than them. Brian was just doing his job. He had good chemistry with certain wrestlers, and that's where Vince assigned him to. The wrestlers thought he was doing it because he was playing favorites, but he wasn't playing favorites. This is who he was supposed to be writing for. They decided to take him to Wrestler's Court, and Undertaker was the judge, and JBL was the prosecuting attorney. Brian had to defend himself, and he got abused, verbally abused. Not physically, but it was pretty brutal. In the end, what he had to do was buy 2 kegs of beer for the wrestlers. Wrestler's Court usually ended in someone having to pay someone off with alcohol. With Cash Wheeler as FTR, Dax Harwood has taken the AEW Tag Team division by storm. Before this, he spent a great portion of his career in WWE and became close with a legend in Shawn Michaels. Harwood recalled on these sessions that HBK would act different when he was around other Clique members. I told Shawn, I was like, man, this happened. Tore my bicep. I went through a really dark period. I thought I was going to quit, but thankfully, just like I told you, I have the greatest wife in the world, and she has supported me and brought me out of this funk, and she brought me out of a dark place, and I'm here now, and I'm super happy. He said I was the same way. I was in this very dark spot. I met my wife. She's beautiful, and she pulled me out of this dark spot too. I was like, oh, that's so awesome. He said, look, you and your partner are way too talented to be doing what you're doing tonight, and you're way too talented to stay at this point. Just keep your nose to the ground and keep grinding, and you're going to get over. I'm like, oh man, Shawn, thank you so much. We had this bonding moment, and then we get in front of his friends, X-Pac and Hunter and Billy and Road Dogg and Scott. As soon as we get in front of his friends, he started making fun of me and making fun of my situation and what happened with my bicep, and I was like, man, I just poured my heart out to you, and as soon as we get in front of your friends, because we're going over, they're going to beat the tar out of us. You decide to take all that stuff and make fun of me about it, and I never ever forgot it. As soon as we were done with the business at Raw, one person said thank you to us, and it was Sean Waltman. Following a release from WWE in November, Tegan Nox touched on her time on NXT, telling Into the Danger Zone she never felt she had a good run. With all the knee surgeries and stuff, I never felt like I got a good run on NXT. I was enjoying my time in NXT. My feud with Dakota is probably my favorite wrestling situation I've ever been involved in. It was so much fun. After winning the Elimination Chamber match, Bianca Belair has earned her shot at Raw Women's Champion Becky Lynch, as the two will meet for a rematch on the grandest stage of them all, WrestleMania. For the other women, it seems the company is lacking direction, with Dave Meltzer saying this on Wrestling Observer Radio. I don't know what they're doing. It wasn't obvious from watching it. They had nobody else for her to beat, and they were going to do it one more time. At this point now, I can't see them doing it again, but next Monday, they come up and just go, we want Rhea Ripley to get a win. Who do we got? With Kevin Owens teasing his dislike for the state of Texas, which is where WrestleMania will be taking place this year, reports have come out that WWE is looking at a program between Owens and Stone Cold Steve Austin for Mania. For now, Owens and Seth Rollins defeated RK Bro to earn a shot at Tag Team Gold. As Meltzer gave an update on the Austin-Owens feud, they didn't really push the Austin thing too hard tonight. I mean, it was there, but I guess because they've got the tag team thing that they've got to get to first before they get to the Owens-Austin thing. For their previous Madison Square Garden holiday show in December, WWE was only able to fill up half their seats as they would be outdrawn by AEW in Long Island. Now the company is pulling out all the stops to increase attendance for the next MSG show, as Meltzer gave details regarding this. At the end of the show, Jimmy Smith pretty much said that Lashley's not going to be there. When he first said Bobby Lashley, I was like, this is even worse than the other thing that they just did over the weekend. They know he's not going to be there, but they really did make it clear. They said his name, but the second time he brought it up, they go, he's not going to be there. So it's going to be a mystery guy, and who knows what that will be. But it is very interesting how much they pushed the Garden, because when they did that last show at the Garden and did whatever it was, I think it was 4,800 paid, 5,000 paid, which was the third lowest since 1940. I knew Vince is not going to take this one sitting down. He's going to do everything for the next Garden show that he can. He put Ronda in there. He put Brock in there, which is really expensive. You know, Ronda's doing a lot of house shows, so that's not really that big of a deal expense-wise. Brock is a big deal expense-wise to put him on a house show. I don't remember the last time. Brock's house shows, he's done a few. You know what? He didn't really make a giant difference in the gate on those house shows. Certainly not even close to what they're paying him, but they're going with it on this one. The ticket sales, they're about 5,500 tickets out right now. They were a lot lower, but they did the 2-for-1 and then pushing it on Raw like it's something big will help. But still, 5,500 tickets and probably 1,500 2,000 of those are probably comps, business trades. That's pretty bad. This should jump it. Following a multi-year story, Adam Page would finally unseat Kenny Omega as AEW World Champion. Talking about this to Inside the Ropes, AEW President Tony Khan noted the challenges that came with booking Page to win the title. It was good, it's a challenge, and it was a risk in some ways, but in other ways, it was absolutely the right thing to do. When he said he wanted to take time off to be with Amanda through the pregnancy, and when they started their family together, I was all for it and very supportive. We just had to sit down and make a plan for it, and it was a big challenge, but we were able to get through it. In some great news, Jake the Snake Roberts revealed on his podcast that his health has improved and that he no longer needs an oxygen tank. Genetics being what they are, my mother had 2 lung diseases that she passed on to me. There is no cure for either one of them. The last thing I should ever do is smoke a cigarette, and yet I've been smoking since I was 17 to the point that I had COPD and a little emphysema tossed in. Now I have to see a specialist. I have to keep my eyes on it. During the pandemic, it was a real scare for me because if I got COVID, I probably wouldn't have made it. I was really terrified. I was one of the first to get the damn shots because I have to protect my ass. Today I feel great. I don't have to use any oxygen at all. I do have to use it on the airplanes when they pressurize and go up high, but it's something that can be dealt with. I can still live a great life. With WWE believing that AJ Styles is a big draw for the company, Fightful has noted that the Phenomenal One has re-signed a huge deal. We weren't given a time length besides the fact that it was a multi-year deal. His original contract was set to expire in the spring and summer, would have had him hit free agency for the first time since leaving New Japan Pro Wrestling. WWE expected Styles to have plenty of suitors, and we're told that, as in the case with some other big names in the company, wanted to get Styles' deal extended before he could even hit free agency to talk to anyone else. Styles is said to be very happy in the company and has mentioned numerous times that he'd like to work for WWE after his wrestling career. And this was your Pro Wrestling News Update. I hope you're all having a great day. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you later.